What's good, y'all? Hi, it's Manny here, back at it with another insane video once again. Storytime animation on YouTube used to be huge, but nowadays you don't really see anything about it ever. It's hard to find any new Storytime animators. You'll find, the stickman animators who technically animate stories. It's more of a stickman slideshow of events. Or that other weird subsection of stickman animators who don't tell life stories about drugs. Instead, they talk about history and stuff. But today is about who came before that. YouTube Storytime animators. And like I said, it was absolutely huge around 2015 to 2019. It was the biggest it's ever been. That was its prime years right there. It was really two major creators who made the entire genre blow up. Those ones being The Odd Ones Out and Jaden Animations. The Odd Ones Out was the first Storytime animator I ever watched, and probably one of my first YouTubers I actually directly followed. I was probably 10 or 11 years old when I started watching The Odd Ones Out. Before that, the only YouTuber I genuinely remember following and keeping up with was DameTDM. Though he did receive heavy criticism for not exactly animating anything, it was moreover a passably drawn slideshow. His voice was just so naturally funny, charismatic, energetic that it made the whole thing feel more animated, if that makes sense. He already had some initial success. I believe a couple thousand subscribers came over from his Tumblr, which he wrote comics on. He had some early success, for example, his roommates video, 7-Day Vegan Challenge, and his ASMR video. Editor side note here, but why did everyone hop on that 7-Day Vegan Challenge shit, bro? I'm looking back, it was everyone. It was Tony V Toons, Jaden Animations, The Odd Ones Out. Why was everyone hopping on that shit? Was I the only one who has these videos ingrained in their memory? What the fuck? But the video that really got the ball rolling and I believe introduced me to his content was his Subway video. Doing incredibly well. I believe nowadays it's garnered almost 100 million views, which for how frankly low effort it is, I'm actually shocked.
But seriously guys, working at Subway was probably one of the most easiest jobs out there. I don't know why I'm about to complain about it to you guys. We got free cookies. And you know the comic with the Subways in Hell? I was actually working at
Jaden Animations began blowing up around the same time as The Odd Ones Out did, and I kind of went from watching The Odd Ones Out to Jaden Animations as well. And around that time, another creator, Adam from Something Else YT, also began making similar content to James, and so they all three of them became the quintessential YouTube animators. Or I guess the new generation of YouTube animators for the time, I guess. My personal favorite and funniest out of the trio was always Adam from Something Else YT. I drew fan art of his character and stuff like that. I would just sit and rewatch his videos all the time because the dude barely fucking posted. But it was so funny, bro. That dude, it got me laughing every time. It was slightly more mature humor maybe than The Odd Ones Out or Jaden Animations. It felt less made for kids, right? Maybe that was what really drew me to it. And then also around 2016 to 2017, as they were all really blowing up, getting super big, that was when we saw an explosion in YouTube Storytime animators. I actually have a full list of all of them I'm going to talk about, but it's actually on the phone I'm recording on because I usually have a phone I can watch during the video, but that's lost. So you're going to see some weird cuts is my point. I could have sworn I didn't have a single pen or paper in my house, but luckily I found a library receipt from the Kingdom Hearts manga I'm renting from the library. And my dad actually has an office set up in here where he does therapy, so I found a pen in there. Thank God. I don't have a pen or paper in my fucking house, bro. I never use that shit. But in that Cambrian explosion period around 2016, we saw all the different YouTube animators just a rise. Not that all of them started in 2016, but that most of them began blowing up around 2016. Because The Odd Ones Out kind of proved that you don't have to have incredible animations to go viral on YouTube. If you're funny and charismatic enough, passable slop can slide if you're that funny. And so YouTubers began striking a balance between those things. Some of them taking more inspiration than others, obviously. I obviously don't know all of them. These are just the most popular ones I found and watched back then. But around that time, it was Tabs, Tim Tom, It's Alex Clark, Sugar, CypherDen, Chili Panda, Ginger Ale, The Amazing, Tony V Toons, and Fox Goodman. Fox Goodman's only on here to make fun of him because he plagiarized The Odd Ones Out a bunch, and he was technically a Storytime animator on the tail end of that period. I'm not going to do a full history lesson in each channel. We'd be here for actual hours in that case, and I don't think you guys want to hear me talk for that long. Just going to tell you each channel from the general vibe of what I remember, right? Habs was hilarious. Probably the closest thing to a stickman you could find back then. She had a signature bat and a floating crown. From what I remember, it was a lot of roommate stories and school stories. I guess she went to a really low income school with a lot of really shady characters, and she had a lot of stories to talk about. And then the general friend group of roommates, how she broke onto the roof and stole stuff or whatever. I don't even remember, man. Very tough, rugged, came up from the mud, kind of feeling. No disrespect at all, by the way. I want to make that very clear. I'm just telling you the vibes I generally got and that were displayed in your videos from what I can remember. Tabs is still active to this day, though it's around once or twice a year at this point. One of the biggest, one of the funniest, one of my personal favorites. Definitely loved her content back then. It sucks she doesn't post as much anymore, but I get it with the recent climate of YouTube and stuff like that. I want to rate all of them, so I'm going to give Tabs a 9 out of 10. She was a really good one. Next up, we got Tim Tom, and Tim Tom was always one of my favorites, but he was never consistent, to be fair. He, like, technically still posts, but it's very sporadic. Seems he's mainly doing other stuff now and focusing on other aspects of life. I remember him from collabs with, I think, the Odd Ones Out and Jade Animations primarily. He did, like, work stories and stuff like that. From what I remember, less childhood stuff. It was, like, driving lessons and, like, more adult-oriented stuff. I did still like him a lot, though his, like, overall voice and demeanor did seem very, like, child-friendly to me at the time. So I wasn't as big of a fan of him as I was, like, Adam from Something Else YT or Tabs. He does have some pretty high-quality thumbnails, though. I don't know about his recent content. I haven't really kept up or watched it, so I'm really not sure. Though I'm happy to report he did not turn to the dark side. He posts inconsistently, but it's not like brain rot and shit like that. So I can appreciate that at least. I mainly remember him from his trip to Europe with Jade Animations. I couldn't find the video nowadays. I found a re-upload. And upon reading the comments, apparently Tim Tom got into some drama with James or whatever because he didn't want to do a collab. And Tim Tom was like forcing James to do a collab and telling him like James is the reason why Jade Animations is not as popular or something like that. I don't know the situation, but apparently it turned into drama with not only James, but Jaden as well when she hopped into the mix, and so I guess they don't really communicate anymore, and that's why she took the video down and hasn't re-uploaded it. It's Alex Clark. Unfortunately, he did turn to the dark side. I have no respect for this guy whatsoever. I was first exposed to him from the Odd Ones Out video. I think it was about piñatas or something like that.
Piñatas. I love piñatas. It's perfect for when you want to beat something to death, but also want candy.
It's Alex Clark is still active on YouTube, unfortunately. His content nowadays is just like sex stories, brain rot, that kind of shit.
You're about to hear this goofy Reddit story about a man that met his wife in the shower.
He got into drama with Jade Animations a while back when apparently at VidCon he filmed like an IRL vlog, and Jade at the time was going through really bad body dysmorphia and she did not want her face out there, and apparently she relayed this to them, offered to edit the video herself, and then they were like, he was like, okay, yeah, go ahead, edit it or whatever. Jaden edited the video to blur her face out, and then it's Alex Clark just said, actually, no, I'm gonna keep it the way it is. And so he uploaded it without her permission, and obviously that's bad taste. And nowadays, instead of letting his actual personality shine through, it's just like, you know, sex in college and sex stunts and like how I eat booty and stuff like that. Just like quick cash grab stuff to like grab young audiences' attention because they see these crazy animated thumbnails with big booba everywhere and they're like, oh, I need to see that, I want that, and it's clickbait bullshit, and I don't know, man. It's Alex Clark. You used to be my hero. Now you're just cheating a cheapskate. Next up, we got Sugar. If I had a crush on any of them, it would be her. Not as much nowadays, but back when I was, you know, a lot younger, like 12 or 13, she was my crush of the Storytime animators. I don't remember a lot of her content. I vaguely remember a Lemonade video, a Roommates video, or no, it was like an Apartments video. I remember the part where she stepped out, because there was one part of the video where she got out of the shower and she was in a towel, and I'm not gonna go into this. Editor Aiden back, I remembered that clip from 7 years ago, bro. I'm 17 right now. I was 10 years old when I watched that shit, bro. That clip was ingrained in 10-year-old me's memory, I swear to God. This woman had 10-year-old me in a chokehold, bro. What the fuck? But I did love her content. I thought it was, you know, pretty funny. I thought it was some pretty great stuff. I digested it a lot as a kid, so I don't know. Just a smaller channel nowadays. That used to be a lot bigger back in 2016. Oh my God, she started out by making animated music for CG5. No. We got Cypher Den. I didn't watch a whole lot of Cypher Den. I think I watched maybe 2 or 3 videos of hers. I think I mainly found out about Cypher Den through other channels because she did like a lot of collabs and stuff like that. Very high quality from what I remember. Very like well animated. The art style felt more high quality than a lot of other ones. The pink hair, more like chibi character definitely exists in my mind. That one is like a very ingrained image, though I don't remember a lot about her. I think she was Filipino. If I don't know why race matters. I may have avoided it purposefully because it did kind of feel like more like girly girl content made for girls. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know how true that is, but I definitely didn't watch as much of it as many of the others on the list. Right below Cypherden is Chili Panda, who I don't remember much of at all. It was mainly school stories and stuff like that, probably the lowest quality of the content you could find in the story animation community.
I'm not telling you to quit drawing because you're copying someone else. I'm telling you to quit drawing because you can't draw. And judging by your art over the course of a year, you'll never be able to draw.
Not to call it bad by any means, just in terms of like overall art style and animations and stuff like that, it definitely didn't feel as high quality as some of the other ones. She is no longer active. She has not posted in over 3 years, and the last video she made was an announcement that she was moving over to VTuber content. I'm not touching that one. I'm not sure how well that's going for her. Hopefully she's found some sort of success in there. I don't really remember anything of Chili Panda, I'm not gonna lie. I just, it was more like a girly one for me. It was one I was like, that's for girls and stuff like that. I can't watch that. Was I missing out on peak content? Maybe I was, I don't know. Shit, I don't know. I don't know what I was missing out on, bro. I'm not watching that. Then we got Ginger Pale, and Ginger Pale was one of my favorites. Felt very high quality back then. Some fluid animation in there. The little green Ginger Pale OC character was pretty great. I liked him. He was Canadian. I liked the voice he did. He seemed very happy-go-lucky. Very, very just nice content overall. And it was happy-go-lucky, but it didn't seem too, like, made for kids either. I struggle to really even call Ginger Pale like a Storytime animator, because from what I remember, he didn't even really talk about story times and stuff like that. It was mainly just like random thoughts about, you know, colors, coffee, different kinds of sodas, Canadian stereotypes, just throwing his thoughts out there in very well animated pieces of media. From what I remembered, he was just very naturally funny. He didn't cuss too much, so that voted very well with me, who was very much a goody two-shoes as a kid. Obviously, I don't have that problem as much nowadays when it comes to cussing. I may rewatch the content at some point, but he was pretty good from what I remember, man. Under Ginger Pale, we have The Amazing. The Amazing. Where do I even begin, man?
He was even better as a person.
Remember his video about like the friend zone, or I think he made a video about like being brown and then also working at McDonald's.
I go over to my sweet, innocent brother and stick this tiny, blunt knife into his face and cut straight down.
He was Australian, had a very cool Australian accent, so that was nice. He mainly hung out a lot with like the Odd Ones Out from what I remember.
Okay, so when I say that I'm addicted to Genshin Impact,
Talk about how he was like depressed after watching How I Met Your Mother or something like that. I think it was in some trip in another country. I don't remember a lot. It's very like sporadic memories, but dude, so goated, bro.
Okay,
so
so when I say
goated. He had a very signature style where he had his characters. None of them had eyes. He had glasses, but none of them had any eyes. Decently well animated stuff. I mean, generally well drawn. I mean, he was even better as a person. Even kinder. Tony V Toons is our next one, and I loved Tony V Toons. He was never like super big or anything like that. He never had a giant following, like a couple 100,000. He had like a cookie gag. He had like cookies in all of his videos or something like that. I remember a prank call he did where like he rapped about wanting like 20 cookies or 100 cookies or something like that. I don't remember.
I wish I had a box of cookies sitting at my door. I wish I had a box of cookies. I would eat them whole.
Talk about just like general stories of everything. You know, some school stories in there. Driver's ed, first job. He was just like naturally funny. He sounded just like, he just sounded so sweet. I loved the character model he had. I was heartbroken when he basically announced that he was going to stop uploading videos to pursue a career in music. And for what it is, it's not bad at all, really. I mean, I looked at his music under the name, I think it's Tony22 or something like that, and it's pretty fire stuff, man. However, around a year ago, he completely stopped posting music and began making YouTube videos again. One video 2 months ago, and his most recent video last month. Sorry for getting the dates wrong. I actually made this video like deadass like 3 or 4 months ago when they was accurate, but I'm editing it nowadays, like right now, so my bad on that, chat. One of them was about bunnies, the other one about how growing up sucks or whatever. I haven't watched them because I'm afraid I'm going to get attached to his content again and he's going to leave again. He's going to leave me again. He, in fact, left again. He has not posted a video since then. Though it is enough for me to say he is currently still active. He is not not currently still active. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Though it is to a much smaller audience, he's certainly struggling in views. His videos are very short, only around 4 or 5 minutes long a piece. It's unfortunate, but the app just doesn't really promote those kind of videos anymore. If they're not at least over 8 minutes, or preferably like 20 or 30 minutes nowadays, you're not gonna do very well, unfortunately. Then we got Fox Goodone. I think Daft Pina called him out for like tracing and stuff and copying a bunch of Odd Ones Out jokes and stuff like that. And I think it got handled or whatever. I only included him for those reasons. Oh yeah, Rebecca Parham. Do not let me forget Rebecca Parham. I didn't write her down, but yeah. Let Me Explain Studios. She had a style with no mouths. She was super funny. Big theater kid. Gave off Disney adult vibes, definitely. She was really good at drawing. Don't remember a whole lot of her channel, but I definitely liked it. I was definitely a big fan of that. And she taught like 8-year-old me or 10-year-old me what menstrual cups were. So that was something. Thinking about it, I think I might have learned about periods and like women anatomy from these YouTubers. Actually, I might owe a lot to these YouTubers. Well, what the fuck? I was like 11, 12. I didn't know it at the time, but like nowadays I can appreciate this shit. This was my sex education. I forgot about that dough. Hey, but I forgot about that dough. But I forgot about that dough. Forgot about that dough. But I forgot about that dough. We've gone over the major ones. What happened to make them all disappear like this? Why did they stop posting? Why did so many of them go inactive? And the fact is, a lot of them just got tired of it. There's not a lot of like really big factors that play. I mean, a big one was YouTube switching from prioritizing views to prioritizing watch time. They had to be 10 minutes long or else they would lose about 1/3 of their revenue because they wouldn't be able to have mid-roll ads. But I forgot about that though. Again, a lot of them made their money and most of them were already starting to post a lot less, having made so much money after their big explosion and big prime. I'd already put in so much hard work into their content. It's not like they didn't enjoy making it, but they were crunched in doing so. Which is why a lot of them are technically still active, though they really only post once or twice in a year. They have more than enough money to subsist themselves off of, and so there's no reason to crunch anymore. There's no longer that factor of like, I might not have food in my fridge if I don't make this next video. That like grinding mentality, it's no longer there. They have nothing to grind for. They've already achieved the height of their career. They're just riding out the wave. That and the content just isn't really popular nowadays. I mean, a lot of the modern audience has a very quick attention span. Those kind of videos don't hold retention anymore, really. In summary, explained easier, YouTube does not prioritize animation content anymore because the content style itself takes too long to make as an individual, which means you cannot release it on a consistent schedule, and the content you do release will not be long enough for YouTube to want to push it out there since they prioritize longer form videos. Making 15+ minute long, high quality animations as an individual or upcoming channel is just not profitable enough, right? It takes way too much work for too little in the algorithm. Unless you have a team to release semi-consistently and very high quality to have good engagement, it's not feasible. Or at least not nearly as feasible as it was a couple years ago on the platform. That is why the modern animation, in quotation marks, you see nowadays, all of the new ones are stickman shit. Lower quality means higher quantity you can upload, and you can make them as long as you can fucking yap for. And it still takes like a month per upload. But either way, that is modern animation, right? Lower quality for higher quantity and more watch time. That's what YouTube wants. If the Odd Ones Out had a soul, he would have sold it already on his fucking website. That man sells everything. He's made several board games, deleted a lot of his past content for being too low quality or bad or a little too edgy for, you know, people nowadays.
Will you say faux shizzle? Because she's black.
He's run out of relatable stories. Frankly, there's a whole team working on it. It doesn't feel like a personal thing someone's just putting out into the internet to get their thoughts out there. It feels like it's made to make money. It just doesn't feel as personal as it once did. I think it's also a lot of its character, and I hate to say it, but Jade Animation's content is similar, but not all the way. Jade Animations is not nearly as much of a sellout. She does streams on Twitch for a lot of her money. I think she's a VTuber. I think her content has maintained a lot of its personality, though it is worked on by a team nowadays. I loved her random thoughts videos and stuff like that, and nowadays it's a whole team working on it. It doesn't feel like a YouTuber anymore. It feels like a channel you're watching on TV, like a well-produced TV show. I can relate to the original drawings and stuff like that. I can relate to the person past that. It's harder to relate nowadays because she's a multi-millionaire. I understand wanting to improve the quality of your content, and obviously it's hard to do when you have to post consistently for YouTube, but you guys don't post consistently anyways. Leave it to YouTube animators to hire a whole team to work on their content just to post less. You have to try at this point, bro. Nothing against Haminations. I don't dislike or hate his content in any way, but it's not really for me. It feels more like it's made for kids, if that makes sense. Very well animated. Not as soulless as like The Odd Ones Out, for example. Then there's obviously the Stickman animators who I can just make a whole video on all the different Stickman animators, but I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I'm High Man. Sorry to make you less broke. I'm gonna talk to y'all next time. Peace out. Low-key forgot about Illymation in this video. My bad. Was not really on my mind, but I did watch a couple of her videos, and I know people in the comments are gonna start calling me a new gen alert, because I didn't talk about Domix or Swoozy, the YouTube animators that came before these ones. There's been like 3 waves of YouTube animators. All right, the first wave was like Swoozy and Domix and the fucking old guys. The second wave was the biggest one with this, and now the third wave is like Haminations and like Infamous Swoosh. I think maybe in that one guy shaped like a fucking box. I guess, man. I don't know. I'm done talking. Okay, bye.